Hello, everyone. How are you? I hope you had a nice weekend. It's Sunday, 9:20 at 5:41. You do have a journal due tonight if you happen to be watching this in the next few hours. I did write an email on Friday telling you about your journal that was due, as well as some other things coming up this week, what I might be posting and what's due. Right now, I have about 8 different things I want to talk about, though, since I have finished reading your literacy narrative drafts. Everybody who turned one in last Sunday, so that was the date when you turned them in, has now had their paper read and commented on by me. So before I get into that, let me talk about one thing I did and that I'll continue to do for the rest of the semester on your Blackboard page is put on a sort of table of contents for each folder. So if you look at the first page of Blackboard, the lessons page, you'll see everything that is listed in that particular folder. So therefore, you can go back and know which document you might have missed, what you need to look at again for a quiz, for the final exam, etc. So anyway, I did that. I didn't post many documents in the Literacy Narrative Week 4 folder. I do have a couple of documents in there for you to look at. But let me right now just give you a few comments about your papers in general. And of course, everyone's specific paper is going to look a little bit different and have different comments on it, of course. But in general, many of you, I wrote, needed more description, specific examples, and sensory details. So things like the smells, the sounds, what you were feeling at the time besides just what you were seeing. So those are things you can add in with specific examples to your paper. Make sure you have multiple paragraphs in your paper. Many of you wrote just one long paragraph, and I gave you places where you should divide. That doesn't mean that as you revise, you won't find other places that you need to divide your paper as well. Make sure you have at least 750 words. Some of you have that and more. Some of you did not have that many and had 500, which was the required number for the draft, but I'm just letting you know what you need for the final copy. Make sure your paper is in MLA format. So in the week 3 folder, I posted a 7-minute video that I found on YouTube that I think is a very good step-by-step video. You know, almost 200,000 people have watched it. I know that's not a lot in the scheme of things with YouTube, but for how to format an MLA style paper, I think that's a pretty good number. And I watched it a couple of times and I think it's good too. So it tells you how to number your pages, where to put your heading, how to put your heading. It's not even called a heading because the 4 lines with your name, date, class, and professor's name are only on page 1, not subsequent pages. So be sure you know how to do the proper format. Make sure you have a title for your paper. The title should not just be literacy narrative. The title should be something that is indicative or indicates what the paper will be about. It doesn't have to be fancy. It can just be my 2nd grade teacher or making PowerPoints. Just whatever your paper is going to be about. Look at the dialogue and narration PowerPoint and your textbook on dialogue if you choose to use dialogue in your paper. What I mean by that is not everyone, but many people who used dialogue in their papers did not do it correctly. So you may have missed the punctuation that comes beforehand. You may have missed a signal phrase that would have been important. You may have put the punctuation on the outside instead of on the inside of the quotation marks. So go back to the dialogue and narration PowerPoint for more information on that. Before you turn in the final copy, which is due on September 23rd, this Wednesday at 11:59 p.m., please use the editor on MS Word to check for grammar and spelling. So it doesn't always work 100%. However, it's a good final step so that you didn't misspell something just with a typo. Make sure you're editing and proofreading carefully on your own, and go to the tutoring at TCC on the left bar of your very first Blackboard page when you log into My TCCD if you want to get 5 points added to your paper. A few people have done that already and have shown me proof that they got the extra credit, and I will write you a little note back when I get that proof so that you know I have it. Finally, one thing I noticed, and I would say 85% of the papers I read, was a grammatical error called a comma splice. A comma splice means that you have used a comma improperly. That is, you have used a comma to splice or separate two complete sentences. So a comma splice is an error. And you'll notice in your comments that I've mentioned comma splice once or more. That actually doesn't mean that you don't have multiple comma splices in your paper. I just did not have time to find every comma splice in every paper, because sometimes you'll be taking things out or adding things in while revising to show that you don't need that particular sentence anymore at all. I am in week 5, which is this coming week, going to post... Soon you'll see. Sorry. Let me continue on with the comma splice PowerPoint. It will be in week 5, and that's because I think you should be looking at it probably starting today and tomorrow. Either one, when you're beginning to revise your paper. I will also be posting a PowerPoint on revision that goes along with the revision chapter that you read in your textbook. So make sure that you're keeping up with dates by either printing the calendar, which is in the introductory materials, or downloading the calendar and having it as a tab that you open. That'll help you keep yourself organized. Anyway, if you have any further questions about your draft, when it's due, what you can do, other things, please let me know. I will have office hours normally, Monday and Wednesday. And those will be good days to talk with me about your draft. One final thing I would like to talk about, and that is the group project that you'll be doing at the end of the semester. I do want you to start not thinking about the project, because I won't be posting the project, but thinking about if you would like particular people in your group. And so I'm going to give a maximum of 3 people per group, and maybe 2. So it can be 2 or 3. And I know some of you in Comp 1301 are in the same class at your high school, and some of you are all at the same high school, so you know each other. And that's perfectly acceptable. Just let me know by Thursday of this week, which would be September 24th, if there's a particular person who you want to be in the group with. I decided to wait this long to see who was still in the class. I've had a number of people drop from the class to see who was turning work in regularly, so I know who I can put together in groups. So anyway, let me know about the group visual textual analysis project, anybody you want to be in that with, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.